Welcome to Let the Quran Speak. We are looking at misunderstood Quranic verses. With me is Dr. Shabir Ally. Dr. Shabir, welcome to Let the Quran Speak.
Pleasure to be on.
Dr. Shabir, the verse we are looking at is chapter 8, verse 60, and it goes like this in English. And prepare for them what you can of strength of arms and horses, tethered for battle, frightening thereby the enemy of God and your enemy, and others besides them whom you know not. God knows them. Whatsoever you spend in the way of God shall be paid unto you in full, and you shall not be wronged. So, what's so misunderstood, Dr. Shabir, about this verse?
Well, a couple of things. First, the idea of preparing power. The verse says, وَأَعِدُّوا لَهُم مَّا اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ. So prepare whatever power you can muster. And then it adds وَرِبَاطِ الْخَيْلِ and war horses. And then it says تُرْهِبُونَ بِهِ عَدُوَّكُمْ عَدُوَّ اللَّهِ وَعَدُوَّكُمْ, by which to frighten the enemy of God and your enemy. So a couple of things are misunderstood here. One is that the first phrase says, prepare whatever power you can muster. Now, in the classical commentaries of the Quran, naturally they talked about whatever they, seemed to them like to be the tools and equipment for war. So they talked about having good arrows, for example. Now, in our modern times, we wouldn't just talk about the weapons of war, but we would talk about the whole infrastructure. We would talk about economic power, technological advancement as a source of power in vis-a-vis your enemies. So the power should not be limited to only military equipment, and definitely shouldn't be just the kinds of military equipment that were envisioned by the scholars of the past. So we need, in looking at these verses, to get over the common cliche that, we just have to understand the Quran as it was understood by the people a long time ago. They say, as the Salaf understood it. Yes, we start...
Because that's a common thing that people say, right?
Yes, it's bandied about so much. You would think that's a Quranic
like
statement
they know
itself.
what the Quran actually means, and we should follow them and their interpretation.
So what I was going to say, Safi, is that, we start there. I mean, we have to start there. We have to see how they understood it, but we cannot stop there. Okay, that's where we begin our education, but we have to advance beyond that. They understood it and they explained it the way it appeared to them at the time, but we have to advance in our learning and our explication of the verse.
And then don't take the verse literally too, right? Because it says horses, but it could mean a lot more than that.
Yes, when it said رِبَاطِ الْخَيْلِ, so this was the means by which you're going to move about swiftly within, the battle. But nowadays you might move with tanks and the Merkava tanks, which others are using. So we have to be advanced in this sort of technology. Now, the last thing that needs to be mentioned here is where it says to frighten the enemy of God and your enemy. Now, some who are, furthering a terrorist agenda will say, oh, you see, the verse says we should frighten them. And of course, one of the key aspects of a definition of terrorism is that it is a way of sowing fear among
it terrorizes.
By targeting civilians, you sow fear, and in order to advance a political agenda. So they say, see, we're sowing the fear because that's what the Quran said. But what they're missing is that when the Quran spoke about this, the Quran was not encouraging Muslims to go and attack civilians or to attack anyone to begin with. What the Quran is saying here simply is that if you amass the kinds of power that the Quran is encouraging you to amass, well, then the enemy will not dare to attack you. They will be afraid to attack you. It's not that you should scare them by
go out and
attacking
people.
them.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate, as Dr. El-Sayed Amin points out in his book, Reclaiming Jihad, a Quranic critique of terrorism. In modern times, a word had to be coined in Arabic to reflect the English word terrorism. And the word that was coined is irhab. Now, irhab is related to this word, turhibuna bihi, the verb that is used in this verse, Surah 8, verse number 60. But he remarks that this is unfortunate because this word in the Quran, like the root, when it's used widely in the Quran, it often has a positive connotation, as in the fear of God. And from this root, we get rohban, which means a monk. And the idea seems to be that a monk is, one who fears God. And rahbaniya is monasticism, as mentioned in the 57th chapter of the Quran. And again, we have the idea of monasticism meaning, referring to that attitude of being close to God and, fearing God and, of course, being in love with God as well. But the aspect of fear is there. So that word generally has a positive connotation. Now, there's another word in Arabic, rob, which means terror. And one could have coined the term irhab, which would have mean terrorism, but that's not what they did. But even that word in the Quran usually means that when the Muslims confront the others in battle, God will sow fear into the hearts of the opponents and at the same time fortify the hearts of the Muslims so that the Muslims would have the winning edge in battle. Now, again, that is not saying that Muslims should go and attack civilians or go and attack others. It's just talking about what happens within the moments of battle. In short, this verse has been misunderstood, and we need to reclaim it as a verse of the Quran with a positive meaning.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you, Dr. Shabir.
You're welcome.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Muslim Media Hub, the new home of Let the Quran Speak.
Here we spread positivity and good. We help people experience the beauty of Islam and help them appreciate and understand Muslims.
This beautiful building we purchased at cost $2.3 million.
Yeah, we've already raised a third of that money, and with your help, inshallah, we can pay off the rest.
So we're looking for people who can give $1,000 each. If you can be part of the select group, that's amazing.
Otherwise, just please give whatever you can. Every dollar counts.
It's our collective responsibility to share the message of Islam with our fellow human beings. Please help us continue this good work.
It's a sadaqah jariyah, something that will continue to be a benefit to the Muslim community long after Safiya and I are gone.
Please support our work at muslimmediahub.com.
Your support is zakat eligible and tax deductible.
May Allah bless you and your loved ones today and always. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.